Hello there! Welcome to episode 251, The Joes the Tunes Missed. My name is Steve, I'm joined by my boys,
Paul.
and...
General Kenobi.
Robert.
Hey Robbie, hello Paul, good
Hey, buddy.
evening gentlemen. May I just say that I've had the world's worst sleep in the lead up to this podcast, so it's gonna be interesting.
I'm so sorry to hear that. What happened?
Guys,
Fascinating.
well, I was up a mountain at sunset, shooting a little sequence for the final part of the Renegades play motion saga, and at around sunset, the cloud of mosquitoes that live there just rise. They rise out of the foliage and they just attack anything living. Particularly if you're hunched over a plastic helicopter and not able to move or swat anything because you're trying to get the damn shot. Eesh. Guys, I was like a beekeeper, you know, covered in bees on your suit, but without the suit.
Oh my god.
I now know what it feels like to have a mosquito bite your testicle.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't advise it. It's not like I was nude. I was wearing clothes.
It just got in there somehow.
I was wearing the typical North Queensland outfit of shorts and a t-shirt and
Like a
flip-flops.
crop top?
Yeah, exactly. Showing off my midriff. Nice and tasty for the cloud of mozzies. Anyways, dudes, it bit me through my shorts, through my underwear. It got in there.
Oh.
And I didn't want to move because I was like, it was a long extended take, and I was like, I gotta get the Sarge framed up nicely against the sunset.
No.
Yeah, man.
Your
Bad
dedication to this craft.
But the
is,
thing is,
Knows no
inspiring.
bounds.
I don't know if it's linked or not. Maybe I'm coming down with something that Kim had, but like, I couldn't sleep because the right side of my face was totally fucked, for lack of a better word. My eye was sore and red. My nose was blocked. I couldn't breathe through that side. Like, just
Oh shit.
weird. I don't know if it's a reaction to all the bites, because those bastards carry disease, man.
No,
No,
for
they do.
sure, they do.
What did Kim say? I mean, she is a doctor.
She knows things.
What are doctors that study insects?
Um,
Entomologists?
I
Barking up
think
the
it's
wrong tree.
entomologists.
Be
Yeah.
sure to take me to task in the comment section. But no, she's not that kind of doctor. So
Yeah, but I
She's
mean,
like,
as a
your
as
eyes
a-
as
sore?
a
See an
doctor
optometrist.
No, but I mean,
Something
I'm
with
just
your teeth,
saying,
go to a dentist.
as a doctor, yeah, but I mean, she might have like some idea of your symptoms and say, okay, these symptoms are commonly
Yeah,
linked
like
to.
this is commonly linked with, TB
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
some
I
rubbish.
suppose she
I
could,
don't know.
She could ask Dr. Google, same as everyone else. But no, her advice was like, take some painkillers and go to sleep.
There you
Don't wake up
And-
and do a podcast the next morning. Sorry, babe. Joke's on you. Anyway,
You're
Joe's
right, by the way. It
roast.
is an entomologist. I went and looked
Hey.
up just Mr.
Calm
Google,
down,
not Dr.
comment
Google.
section. Calm down. Paul, Rob, fill me in, guys. What's new with you?
Well, nothing much. We had a good week at work. The weather's been absolutely fantastic. Raining a lot. That's the good news. Some bad news, which I think probably a lot of people have heard. A fantastic actor, Ray Liotta, passed away this week. Rest in peace. Probably most well known for Goodfellas. I
Yes.
really enjoyed him in Copland. But what I'll always remember him for was being the voice of Tommy Vercetti in Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
main character of that game. And that is probably one of my favorite performances of his ever. It is just fantastic. What a great game, what a great setting, what a great time period, and what a great voice to get for the character. So yeah, there was a one great loss, and a second loss that also happened this past week.
This one hurt me.
Not to get terribly morbid, but Andy Fletcher of Depeche
Oh.
Mode. Oh,
Yes.
well, this
No.
one.
So
yeah,
there's a third one as well that hurt me.
Oh, there's a third one. Oh, goodness.
Mm.
So Andy Fletcher, the keyboard player, DJ, and founding member of Depeche Mode, also passed away this week. Rest in peace. One of my favorite bands ever, and it's just sad to think I'll never hear them a complete live.
I would have
without
loved to have seen him
this
live.
fantastic man. Absolutely amazing. Paul, it sounds like someone else passed away that I'm
Yeah,
not aware of.
Vangelis. Yeah. So
What?
Vangelis, a lot of people may know Vangelis for his score, his amazing score he did for Chariots of Fire.
Blade
My
Runner.
first
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is the next one. What is it? Conquest of Paradise.
Yeah.
Amongst many others. I mean, Vangelis has lent his scores and his musical genius to many things. And as somebody who's a huge fan of his music, it surprises me that I've never really looked up who he is. And I think it's just because I've always appreciated just the sort of mystery behind him. Kind of the same thing as Depeche Mode. Like, I love Depeche Mode, but I don't know a lot
I
about
didn't
the
know
band.
many of the members. Yeah, same.
And to find out, to read, like he's sort of, I don't want to say he's, it was an article that was written about him posthumously. So it's kind of like a posthumous biography, biographical write-up of him. And he was like a total prodigy. I mean, he was playing piano concertos at like 6 years old, and he had never been taught how to play piano. He was just playing piano in front of a whole bunch of people. And he was just quite a brilliant mind, and it's just sad, that he's gone. But once again, so cool that he's left behind so much awesome stuff. Very much like Depeche Mode, who, for me, I mean, Depeche Mode and Vangelis for me have been big influences in my life musically and just artistically, and also from an identification point of view. When I say, like when you were creating our identity as people, love their music. And Ray Liotta, dude. Such a cool actor, and like I've always loved these, like, he does these weird comedy roles as well every now and then, like where he plays
he was in, like Muppets from Space.
Dude, I love that dude. He was actually so good. So totally he will be missed. So there's that. So shot, Rob.
Yeah,
The good
for
weather,
sure.
you say.
Good weather in general, yes.
Nice.
Anyways, toys.
I'm gonna take the mic from you quickly. I'm just gonna
Good.
say, yeah,
Ooh.
I've had a cool week in the form of just being very busy, but in a cool way. I've been busy on some great projects, for like gaming projects and stuff that are coming up. It's all like for commercial clients. It's nothing like fun or whatever that you guys might want to play, but there have been great like portfolio jobs for me, which has been cool and exciting. Just crazy busy. One of them rhymes with Teen Titans Go, which has been quite cool for me. And then,
nice.
yeah, so, but I mean, it's like a mini game. It's mostly for kids, but it's cool that I've been working on something like that. So it's great for the porty. On top of all of that,
That was Aussie level slang right there. Great for the porty, as in portfolio.
yes,
That's
Yeah.
amazing. It's great for my porty, mate.
but I just, I mean, that's just something,
Spending
maybe
too
it's an
much time with
Australianism that's
Stephen.
No,
not been
it's-
there.
the world, unfortunately, is tending towards truncating everything, I imagine. Australia is just ahead of the curve in that regard. But yeah, it totally scans. The point. That's funny.
Yeah, so it's just been a cool work week, and then Gunplay SA has been doing really well, and I'm happy about that. And yeah, that's me. Onwards to Steve.
Hell yeah.
What's been
Other
cracking
than
on your
Oh,
side of the world, other than being
No, guys, you've got enough of me. Let's crack in.
Let's crack up.
cranking?
Let's crack open our topic
crank it.
On this session. So, a number of characters, designs, concepts were left out of G.I. Joe's extensive cartoon appearances. And they had to be. It's a toy line that just cranked them out, man. In episode 251, we're going to focus in on some of the most criminally underutilized characters and try and filter them in to the cartoon series that fits them best. So get your creative juices flowing, get the wheels spinning. Which figures, which characters, which concepts, designs, vehicles, sub-teams did you long for in G.I. Joe animation and never got?
Yeah, that is
Did
exactly.
I get it right, Paul?
You got it 100% right.
Okay.
You can force it.
This
Yeah.
is this is a cartoon style episode, and it is definitely in Paul's wheelhouse. He suggested the topic, and I'm doing my best to transcribe his thoughts into a digestible intro speech. But in terms of my first pick, gentlemen, I don't know if this is going to be in any kind of chronology,
Nah,
but I'm going to roll with the year 1988, and I'm going to select that a character I wished we'd had simply for what he represents. Or a character I wish we'd had in the Sunbow series if there had been a third season taking place after the movie is Voltar, Destro's general, for the simple reason that he, more than anything else, suggests that the Iron Grenadiers were their own distinct faction. I mean, how can you be a general if you don't have an army to command? So Voltar's very existence says to me that Destro's Iron Grenadiers are not just a personal god. They are, just like we saw in the comic book series during the Cobra Island Civil War, they are an army in and of themselves, an important third faction, and something to really shake up the Serpentor Cobra Law hegemony. You know, this is Destro's attempt to seize power. Cobra Commander's a snake. Globulus is possibly dead. Serpentor's trying to put together his forces again, and now's the time to launch his campaign, I guess, his quest for world domination himself. And this is the man, Voltar, who's going to be his ticket. He's got such a cool Lord Dread from, Captain Power look to him, but this... I mean, there's some debate about the color of his jumpsuit. Is it a deep burgundy? Is it a hot pink? Paul, you've known a lot of Pantones and color swatches in your life. What would you call that?
I would call it. It's a
Plum.
What do they call? No. It's like a berry pink, but it's got like a silly name. It's like hot berry pink, or I think it's around that. It's because it leans towards the magenta side of the pink,
magenta.
not so much the red side.
Look,
yeah.
I think the plastic couldn't match the color that the artist went for. I think this character, at least in design, started out as a different color than the figure we got. Because the color, I've found some justification for it later on. It's certainly an eye-catching color, but I didn't connect with it as a child because it was like, that's dipping into girls' toy palette. But if you look at the artwork alongside, it's got a kind of a crimson red to it. But it's not crimson guard red. It's got notes of that kind of pinkiness. So it's like, I don't know, bloody brain.
Destro red. I don't know.
Bloody brain.
Bloody brain.
I've got a color mixing app that I use on my phone. Just sometimes you can just find a Pantone or whatever so that you can mix paint colors for model kits, whatever. And I actually have this color kind of in there. And I can't remember the name for the life of me, but I swear it's like hot summer pink or something like that, or hot berry pink. That's
Look, either way, I just like throwing in a little new faction, and it's something that the third season of a GI Joe cartoon series by Sunbow could have preoccupied itself with over a number of episodes. I know it was never really a saga; it was more episodic. Every time you'd kind of be set back to the status quo, nothing would shift the needle. But in my fantasy, resetting of the cartoon series, this third season would actually have a bit of continuity to move through, a bigger story to tell, and it would center around this guy, Voltar. Anyways, he's my first pick. The fact that he was never used in the cartoon series at all.
just criminal.
Well, 1988, as we know, and a lot of the 1987 cast are the Lost series. And
Yeah,
I
it's
can only
the gooch.
imagine they will be the figures and characters that we'll have a bit of a preoccupation with in this episode.
Oh, I think you might be right. I mean, that's what my magic 8 ball says.
That's your cue, Paul.
My unmosquito bitten magic 8 ball, should I say?
Thought thoughts.
Yeah, guys, the 1987-1988 period of GI Joe releases really does form a bit of a Gucci, not a Gucci as in style brand Gucci, but as in the Gooch of the GI Joe toy brand, because you got characters that are
It
from
bit me
that
there
era.
as well.
You got characters that are picked from there, and then other characters which are woefully left behind. And the first one that I want to bring out, ladies and gentlemen, none other than Crocmaster. I really feel like the cartoon world of GI Joe has missed out on this gem of a character. He's featured in no way. He's not even misrepresented in the cartoons. He's just not there. And I think, he's if I have to equate GI Joe to another cartoon, let's compare it to the Ninja Turtles. Let's say that Crocmaster is the GI Joe equivalent of something like the Rat King. Yes, Leatherhead is obviously an easy on the nose kind of comparison, but I'd say it's more like the Rat King. And I just think he would have made such a great villain, like to sort of not replace, but just, give us a break from Zartan in the cartoon, just have a bit of Crocmaster, maybe they could have painted him up as a Dreadnought, whatever's, in the show. But I really feel like we missed out on this character. He's very cool. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of Crocmaster fans out there. There must be, because they're doing a classified figure of him. But this is mine. Like, I think some episodes where Crocmaster has mind controlled, or he's, taken over Florida by mind controlling all of the crocodile or alligators. And, Florida is being held hostage by these crocodiles that are just, eating people's poodles and stuff. And he's all like, I want the money. Give it to me, kind of thing. I think he would have just been so much fun. It could have even gone so ridiculous with his voice. He's just fertile ground for great cartoon characters. So missed opportunity there, Hasbro. Just putting that out there. Yeah, so cool. Which brings us to Rob. Rob, who are you gonna put Scoop into today?
Wording.
I think
Who are you gonna put Scoop into today?
I mean, what are you gonna put Scoop into today?
This is Jackass, Paul. This is GI Joe.
Yeah, GI Joburg after dark, man. Damn.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Well, I think it kind of goes without saying that an unofficial pick of mine, a special mention. I'll do it up front because I usually seem to leave it for last. I would love Scoot to be in everything. Obviously, I think he would have made a great character in Sunbow. If you just introduced him a bit earlier, I think he would have had a really great chemistry with those characters. He would have been cool in Resolute. Like that would have been a cool eye to have on the action going on in Resolute itself, because Warren Ellis is very much about transhumanism. He wrote a fantastic comic series called Transmetropolitan, which is like set in the future and about the media. So that could have been a very interesting eye on the action that occurs in Resolute itself, which I thought would have been really cool. So that's my special mention up front. Scoop would be good in everything. Extreme,
he got
I guess
his
you
own
could put rocket shoot shit.
miniseries, which he was the central character to. You
I
got
know.
that whole. That is all for you, my friend. Good or
I
bad.
know, but
that
we
is...
need more. We need more.
Storm Shadow didn't get a miniseries devoted to him.
Scoop did. So
Yeah,
I guess I got one up on Storm Shadow. But my first choice, weirdly enough, is actually from 1988. As far as I know, he wasn't in Sunbow, and I haven't watched much of Deke, so I don't know if he eventually appeared in Deke. But I think a fun character that you could do a lot of cool, fun stuff with, especially just based off his characterization on his card, would be Lightfoot. I think Lightfoot, if he didn't appear in Deke, I don't know if he did, would be a fantastic addition to Sunbow. Because he's just got that kind of that bumblingness about him, but also an intensity. And I think that makes for good comedy, where he can kind of be like the butt of people's jokes, but when it comes down to it, he is saving their lives in the middle of like a huge action scene. Suddenly like they're like, oh no, not Lightfoot, and then he like saves them, and they're all like, oh my god, he saved us. Oh, this doesn't make any sense. Oh guys.
Where is Lightfoot characterized as like a goof?
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
That
where?
works for me.
Is it
Nowhere.
Okay, it's just a
No way.
brainchild of Rob's.
Or maybe it's,
Yeah.
I
Fascinating.
just thought that he came across as like, like when he isn't focused and doing his thing, he was kind of like more like a bumbling guy. Or am I thinking of? Is there someone else?
Tripwire.
Tripwire.
They're both
Yeah.
the EOD guys, but
Oh, that's true.
Lightfoot's-
But I think you could transpose that characterization onto Lightfoot because he was a 1988 character, and his look is interesting. I think his look is more interesting than Tripwire.
So
Oh,
Lightfoot's
definitely.
like one and only real feature came in Special Missions, the comic book, where he was the one selected. The Joes had been captured, and he was the one selected by the enemy captain to be tortured, to give away. I think their objective. I don't know. There's some information they were trying to get out of Lightfoot. They were looking
Wow.
for a secret weapons cache that Lightfoot was sent in to actually destroy. And deny them from getting. Anyway, so they eventually break him after beating him like from sundown till dawn. Hardcore. And Lightfoot spends the rest of the issue like atoning for having volunteered the information. Like he's like, oh, we're gonna see this mission through. We're gonna destroy the weapons cache. All the while, he's being harassed by Mangler, a kind of Johnny come lately. Also ran not quite GI Joe, but was in the mission anyways. So Lightfoot is hard as hell, man.
Well, then I think I mean, at least the way that I confused him with Tripwire, but I think you can transpose that, especially for the cartoon. You can take liberties with the dead-on characterizations. The file card suggests. But he has a cool look to him. Once again, he's in yellow like Scoop, so that's pretty cool. And he doesn't come with a gun, so he'd be an interesting thing to play off of. With his little robot, and I think he would have been a really cool to feature in a couple of episodes in Sunbow.
I like that idea though, dude. I think it's very cool because, like, for me, for him to have a code name like Lightfoot means that must be quite clumsy, actually.
Yeah, I'd like
that's
to
probably
think so.
why they called him
It's
Lightfoot.
just a missed opportunity,
Yeah.
But like he does then get, when it comes down to it, he's exceptionally focused. But like outside of missions, like he's very bumbling. So I think that would have been a lot of fun to have him in the series. Yeah, missed opportunity.
He didn't come with a gun, sure, but I used to pretend that those 3 grenades on his chest, like he could launch them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, good times.
Because it is weird. Like he comes with grenades, but he'd no guns. But he comes with grenades, and he's a EOD dude. And it's like, why do you come with grenades?
You have to blow up the
Well,
bombs, dude.
Yeah, he can set explosives as well. No, I'm thinking like booby traps. He doesn't want anyone following his.
A booby trap. Booby trap.
Booby
Like
trippy.
a bra.
What on earth? It seems like we've got some serious love for Sigma 6 in the Bergforce chat right now.
No, we got Hans Chow pimping Sigma 6 like he's part of the marketing team.
Well, most notably, Tiger Force should belong there. Like their crazy color scheme can only work in Sigma 6, apparently.
Or
And,
GI Joe Extreme.
I'd hasten to agree. Yes, Extreme, of course. How can we forget? Next for me, I'm going to say it's Overlord. Another concept that just
Great choice.
fell through the cracks, right?
Yeah, dude. Like, I think the only time I ever saw him was in the video game.
Not used in the comic books. A great characterization, a great addition to the Cobra line, but nowhere that he could shine.
How would you play him out, man? Yeah.
Well, Overlord is different from any other Cobra leader that came before him because he started out inside the organization as a Crimson Guardsman. He worked his way up from being a grunt to being an officer to then being a leader. So unlike used car salesman who started the whole shebang, or a genetically cloned from the remnants of dead leaders kind of emperor, this guy is a man of the people, a true man of the people, or man of the soldiers, man of the core. He's walked in the boots of the rank and file, and he knows what it's like to be, I suppose, a motivator of men. So it'd be interesting to see another three-way power struggle within Cobra. I kind of see that that's the theme running through my picks. But if
I'm
he
picking up on a theme too.
he could probably have filtered his way into Deke, if indeed Deke had dipped more deeply into the 1990s series. Like, I think season 1 of Deke was already using the 1991 designs. You had Jetpack Hawk, for instance.
No,
And
we
then
had
season
from
2
'89 onwards, essentially.
Yeah, well, Dragonfire was 89, but I mean, there seems to be like a missing portion as well. Like they picked and chose certain Joes from the 1990s series. Like Rampart got some play and Topside, but not everyone got even treatment, and Overlord just fell through the cracks completely. Like I have no sense for this guy, and not many people do, because I didn't have the figure. And if you didn't have the figure, you had no point of reference to him because, like, that was it. That and an appearance as a boss in the video game. And looking at the figure now, man, he needs some help. Like, the skin-tight tank top is just, it's very much a product of its time. Little scratchy Wolverine claws.
It's cool.
Oh, man.
Cool
bizarre.
shoulder pads. He's fantastic, and that cool helmet of his.
So yeah, like get him into the Deke series somehow and give us at least something to cling to. Though saying that, it almost feels like the booby prize. Like putting him in Deke would also add to his obscurity. It's as if you're classic Joe, you have to be part of Sunbow, or you just don't make the cut. Maybe he would have fit better into that period. But yeah, give this guy something to do. Give him some footprint.
So, like I feel you on that one. And one of the guys in the Book Force in the comments actually also suggested Overlord. It's MCDJ ACDC, and he's like Bio and Monstro Vipers, led by the V2 Mindbender and Overlord. That is a very cool combination. I'm really digging that, and I can see that totally working. I'd love to know if you would want
Aesthetically,
to.
Overlord's got all those kind of like monstrous touches. You know, the monocle, the weird horned helmet, the claws. So give him hordes of monsters to command. That's great. And version 2 Mindbender is a perfect sidekick to that. Be interesting,
Totally.
because you normally associate like Mindbender. He's always kind of following Cobra Commander around. Or Serpentor for that matter. But yeah, to slot him into Overlord's camp, that's definitely taken some interesting wrangling.
Or the other way around. Like have Mindbender being the Cobra Commander-esque character, with Overlord always trying to screw him over at every twist and turn as well. That could be fun. It's a thing. Also from the comments, and I love this, Darren Cobb suggests Airtight's Practical Joke Hour. I never considered this, but this would have been a great Sunbow episode. One whole episode dedicated to Airtight just being an annoying goofball, and it would have fallen into that total cartoon trope of the goofball, it does all these goofy things, and the team is all like, go away, you practical joker, we don't want to play with you anymore. And then at the very end, he comes in, and one of his practical jokes is actually what saves the team, blah, blah, blah. But that could have been fun, and I feel like GI Joe needed that episode with Airtight, helming it. Because we did get a very interesting Airtight episode from Sunbow, which was pretty cool.
The germ.
I don't know if... Yeah. That was trippy. It's so
What
great.
is that? Man, what is that film that General Hawk is in? Inner Space?
Yes.
When he shrinks
Yeah.
down and gets put into a hypodermic needle and into someone's bloodstream like that. Yeah, man. That's what that episode reminded me of, I must say. Anyways,
Right,
MC also very rightly points out, and this is something that I stumbled across while doing a little bit of research on old Overlord, that he was in some cool commercials with the Sarge. But, man, those commercials just had no context. Anyone watching them in isolation, or anyone watching them at all, it's like, yeah, okay, Overlord's calling the shots in a commercial, but we have absolutely nothing to support that appearance. So it's like, comes out of nowhere, man. And that's the problem with that character. He just got chucked. I guess he was never going to be as popular as Cobra Commander or even Serpentor for that matter.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they should have just dropped the monocle. I don't know. But yeah, it is a missed opportunity, totally. Considering that Cobra is pretty fertile ground for this, for these character insertions, which is why for my next one I want to bring in a GI Joe character. I'm talking about Hit and Run, who, yeah, I just felt also like kind of super missed opportunity for this dude. He's a very interesting character in the sense that he's got a cool play feature. He's a cool toy. I'm pretty sure a lot of kids, gravitated towards Hit and Run. I know that, we all dig him, and I just feel like it's just such a missed opportunity in the Sunbow show. I think he could have been a great. I don't want to say replacement for Stalker, but they ended up not using Stalker properly in Sunbow, and I think having Hit and Run in one of those episodes would have been awesome. Just to have an alternative to Recondo and what's his name, Alpine. It would have been cool to see. I don't know, just maybe they could have played Hit and Run as a bit of a Spider-Man-esque character. He could have done all kinds of crazy swinging from here to there, kind of, hijinks. It just would have been great, and I think he's kind of a missed opportunity. I'm pretty sure I know why he was never put into the animated series. I think the challenge of, firstly, do we draw him with or without the camouflage was one of them. And then, would people understand his green skin? Would children understand that he's green because he's wearing camouflage? These are the real conversations.
Doing it right until you've camoed right down to your fingernails.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, these are the kind of conversations, we do have in these like sort of creative meetings where we'll, you'll put in something that's very simple and somebody will be like, do you think children will think that's a penis? And it's like, oh god, no, they won't. But anyway, and here with him having green skin, they'll go like, oh, he's a mutant. He's probably like Moss Man. He can probably communicate with the plants. Hey, shit, for all I care, if he could communicate to plants in the Sunbow show, that would have been properly rad. Like, how cool would that have been? Like the sort of male Poison Ivy character for the GI Joes, and like, oh, this tree is telling me that Cobra is hiding, like, a few kilometers that way. Thank you,
I think
tree.
you've been watching too much Captain Planet and the Planeteers, my boy.
Yeah, no, that could be.
G.I. Joe that can talk to trees. Oh, jeez.
Come on.
Yeah, and it's not rock and roll, right? Yeah, so all footloose.
Rob, save us from this ridiculousness. Some more ridiculousness.
Oh no, I don't think mine are too terribly ridiculous. I've already said I really enjoy Resolute. Scoop would have been great in it, but I really enjoyed like the redesign of some of the vehicles. So we had some really cool stuff in there. I mean, I thought the flag was a really interesting, like, futuristic take on it. But I would have liked to have seen other versions of vehicles we already knew, like maybe like a cool like futuristic ram, or I don't know, like a Rage for the Cobra side. Just like more updated designs, because I mean, there's like the characters look so cool and unique to Resolute, and they translate into cool toys as well. But I think you could have had a lot more vehicles, and like redesign them so that you can have like a new look to them. But if I had to choose a toy that I would love to see that exists, that wasn't in Resolute, I would say the Rhino would be a great addition to Resolute.
Yes, agreed.
If I had to choose something that exists, that would have been such a cool, because I mean, they had all those like jetpacks and stuff that the GI Joes used, but it would have been amazing to see the Rhino in there, because I think the Rhino fits perfectly with the styling of Resolute.
Oh, it definitely does.
Absolutely incredible.
And also, like, your suggestion does speak volumes does speak for the Joe community in a lot of ways, because when Resolute came out, I remember the His Tank boards being full of, I really hope that Hasbro releases the His Tanks from Resolute. We never got that.
Never got that. But the crazy thing is they re-released the Rhino in 2009, which I think, if I remember correctly, that's the year that Resolute came out. But it was part of the Rise of Cobra line.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I got.
You could so easily have re-released it as a Resolute vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been freaking amazing.
Would have been
So yeah,
freaking
I would have
amazing.
loved to see a lot more vehicles based off the design philosophy of Resolute.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. I
same.
recall the trouble bubbles were redesigned to look like what are those guys from the Invid? Hey, from
Yes,
Robotech.
from Robotech from the third
The
series.
trouble
Yeah,
bubbles were
from
like
the-
kind of like I don't know, insectoid
Yeah.
yeah, they were
flying through the
very
sky.
yeah, they were cool. I mean,
But Rob,
Resolute was such.
I think you're disqualified on that second pick of yours because the Rhino did find its way into animation. It was in Sigma 6.
Oh, was it?
Oh shit! Jeez,
Yeah.
it
shit.
is.
Plenty. They
Okay.
loved that
Okay.
helicopter particularly. I mean, the Rolling Operations
Okay.
Command Center was GI Joe's like main hub, but I seem to think the Rhino found its way in there. I mean, certainly the helicopter did, but
Interesting.
I could swear I'm seeing because the vehicles were done in like a CG, so they're very clean,
Yeah, you could have
like
quite
computer
easily have
rendered.
put that in there.
Yeah, look, I do think it. I think it was in there. I think it's even in one of the intro sequences.
Damn.
But
Okay,
man,
I
my
gotta
Sigma
go
6
look back
knowledge
at
is
that.
a mess. But yeah, look, we could
Well,
always do with more Rhino. Rapid Heli. Uh, what does it stand for?
Interceptor nuisance operations.
Oh, except very good.
Well, if not the Rhino, I would say any redesigned vehicle, put it in there. Like, I think probably I would love to see a futuristic whale, actually. Redesign the whale and make that into Resolute style. I think that would
that could be
be
cool.
absolutely fantastic. Because it could be a proper, like, hovercraft. You know, have, like, cool, like, jets underneath it. So less of, like, a watercraft, but more of a hovering, I suppose, flying vehicle.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I think
Yeah.
the guys that they got to design Resolute's look and feel are. I love that team. Whoever that was,
Yeah,
they
everything just kind
designed
of meshed
such
together so
incredible
well.
stuff.
You know?
Yeah, because like how many characters are in there in the background and stuff that you're like, oh, I want that toy. You know,
Yeah.
like, and they never did it. So yeah, so it's weird. It's like, we can never win. Either we have a cartoon that's missing toys that we really love, and that inspire this episode, or we have a cartoon full of characters with great designs that we never got as toys.
Net
So
toys,
we just
yeah.
there we go.
Rapid
Darren
Heli
Cobb.
Integrated Neutralizing Offense Vehicle. Is there a more strained acronym in this world? I think not. Wow. Thank you for that, Darren. But wow.
Because it makes it sound like
that's forced.
they're neutralizing heli integration, essentially.
I don't know, Rob.
Rapidly.
Try and wrap your mind around it. You will go insane. That is one hell of an acronym. Guys, for my last pick, I'd like to reintroduce you to what is long hailed, and rightfully so, as the high watermark of G.I. Joe in the modern era, the Pursuit of Cobra series of toys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these guys are all fantastic redesigns with tons of gear, and they seemingly come out of nowhere and go into nowhere. They didn't get any kind of devoted media attention. The backs of the cards all had really cool, like, City Strike and Jungle Attack and Desert Battle, or whatever they were called.
Whatever,
Like, these
yeah.
very evocative dire shots of the characters from that wave
Still
doing
kick
battle in
myself for
places
not getting
all
that
over
Storm
the world.
Shadow. Yeah, sorry.
Well, shame, Paul. Try and get him now. You can't. Too expensive. Ha 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 ha. But each of these figures have so much care and attention and love put into their designs. Like, this is the Hasbro team on fire.
Well,
and yes,
I'll tell you more when you get into it, Joe, when you're done.
but I
about
think the
team that
character to
designed these.
rise out of this. Well, I'm gonna cheat and do two. Okay,
Go for it.
We got one or two new additions during this heyday of the modern era, and most notably, Shadow Tracker.
Ooh.
I
Catch them, kill
propose
them.
that if there had been the budget for it, and if they'd really given this line a push, a mini series devoted to Pursuit of Cobra. Coming off the backs of the Rise of Cobra film, this was GI Joe, the newly reformed GI Joe unit under Duke, now going after all the Cobra cells around the world. As the card backs kind of set
Alluded
the
to.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Shadow Tracker would be one big bad that they encounter in the big bad jungles. I think he could have had his own devoted episode or episode and a half as G.I. Joe trying to counter this threat. Give this guy some backstory. Give him some media
You're
appearances.
giving me so many
because
ideas for him now.
Such a cool
It's so
look for
good.
character. It feels so wasted not to have him animated.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for him to have come and gone and there to have not been any fanfare or any kind of additional media exposure, man, I wish he'd found his way into a cartoon. But I mean, he's coming with all this deadly stuff. And a cartoon miniseries of that era, I think, should have been in the same vein as Resolute and been more adult and have character deaths. But what fun is it for a guy like Shadow Tracker to have a bunch of named Joes that he can't really lay a finger on because everyone's going to freak out? Well, the Pursuit of Cobra toy line provides its own answer in the form of the Steel Brigade.
Its own fodder.
Operation Cannon Fodder.
Steel Brigade never found their way into any cartoon series.
Yep.
And
That
as far
is
as
a
I can
shame.
tell, they didn't find their way into any comic book series either. So we're left with this character, this concept that exists only as our own avatar and never got kind of picked up by Joe Media. Put him in this miniseries as the kind of G.I. Joe cannon fodder and give Shadow Tracker something to gut and string up to a nearby tree as like a warning, like do not come any further. You know, that would be badass. I can just imagine a showdown between Recondo, Pursuit of Cobra Recondo, and Shadow Tracker. Oh man, and a few jungle vipers thrown in for good measure. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
big missed opportunity there.
So, like, everything you're speaking about now with the Shadow Tracker sort of harkens back to this concept in Gundam, in the Gundam anime, where the Zeon, the Principality of Zeon after the war, there's a lot of guys that just refuse to accept defeat, and they create sort of the Neo Zeon faction, and they sort of go to ground. They stay underground, and they're building up this resistance. And
Yeah.
they come out like much later, like almost, I think it's almost 15 or 20 years later, the Zeon remnants come out, and they are led by some fanatical characters that did serve as high ranking officers during the Zeon thing, and that makes a lot of sense to me. It's like Shadow Tracker is like now the new, he's filling up the power vacuum. And that would
Then
be
what's
very
Shadow
interesting.
Tracker's backstory? Who was he in the previous dispensation? And he's now this...
Crockmaster. I'm joking.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, but that leaves him nowhere to go. I mean, Crockmaster was always a freak who stayed out in the, in the back country. For Shadow Tracker to have emerged as this kind of character who's fallen from grace, he's got to have been someone already.
Yeah.
Overlord.
I feel that that's a thing. I mean,
He just got a deep tan.
in my mind, when I got the toy, I always felt that Shadow Tracker was kind of a range viper that was either smarter than the rest of them, or crazier than the rest of them,
Or both.
or both. Which is quite likely. And then, yeah, I mean, I even remember writing a file card for that. There was some, I think, was it Joe Battle Lines or his tank long ago that did like a file card competition for Shadow Tracker. Anyway, I went a bit nuts with the file card. I think I ended up writing like an essay, but and I don't think I even submitted it. But I just remember like giving it some serious thought and going,
Pathetic,
Shadow
Paul.
Tracker's
Come
quite
on,
fun.
man.
No, man, it was an essay, and I was like, ugh, now I got to summarize this thing. Although, actually, now that I think about it, I did submit it. Quickly,
Oh, speaking of, did you guys actually submit your concepts for?
I'm hitting it tomorrow.
He's hitting it
Do it,
tomorrow.
dude. Don't let
the
time
I'm still
expire.
considering. I don't know.
That-
It just feels so. I don't know. Indulgent.
Just do it,
you
Rob.
know?
Roll the dice.
Exactly,
Man.
indulge.
What can you lose?
Nothing.
Okay,
Exactly.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Nobody's gonna put you up there and go, oh my god, this guy submitted the worst thing or whatever. Who cares?
They're gonna,
Gaz makes a suggestion in the chats that I think I kind of was heading towards almost that Shadow Tracker could have been that trooper from that Dusty Traitor two-parter. I think his name was Claymore, wasn't it? Ah, yes. So it does kind of fit the same ethnicity, and yeah, it does give him some backstory, somewhere to go from. He had a career then, perhaps in the Range Vipers, and subsequently became this jungle man called the Shadow Tracker.
So there was this design studio that did a lot of artwork for films and games, and they were called Massive Black. Incredible studio, by the way, and they actually designed all of those Rise of Cobra or Pursuit of Cobra designs that you see there, that you posted earlier. Yeah, so I've got that art book. It's actually not a GI Joe art book; it's their studio art book, and it's really awesome to see some of those characters, like how they were rendered and drawn up. I think Dusty's in there, Rakondo's in there. There are ideas for for what's his face? There's some Snake Eyes designs in there, obviously, and they've actually all found their way into toy form for the most part.
there's just
That's
such
Zartan.
crazy designs in this period that they would all be so cool to see them in motion, in an animation,
Totally.
and used. It's missed opportunities, so many.
And I think initially the sort of destination for those designs wasn't actually for the toys. It was actually movie concepts that were going to be put into the game, because Massive Black also did the designs for the game, for the Rise of Cobra game. So yeah, and you might have noticed that in the Rise of Cobra, some of those GI Joe designs are different to their movie counterparts, and so that's where a lot of that comes from. And I'll tell you another interesting fun fact: that idea that you had of all of the Steel Brigades troopers going after the Shadow Tracker, I think is
Getting
really awesome. And there's a good proof of concept for that. In Halo, in the video game series of Halo, there's a Halo game called Halo ODST, and the ODSTs are the non-Spartan division of the military, so AKA the whole military. So you actually play as a bunch of these guys, and then also another really good game to reference is Republic Commando, Star Wars Republic Commando, when you play as a squad of clone troopers, which was so good and so cool. In fact, I think that single-handedly inspired the Bad Batch. And then the Bad Batch is also a really good inspiration for this. Steve, I think we need to do like a Steel Brigade Bad Batch style
Play motion.
play motion. But we'll use cardboard cutouts because we only have one.
We'll go knocking on Bobby Valler's door and say, can you lend us a couple of Steel Brigades? We want to play with them on camera. Yeah, right. Jeez. It's very expensive play motion, that. But look,
Yeah,
You'll just look at your dad in the eye and you'll be like, my M16? See my M16? If you break
Guys,
any of those figures, my M16 is going to be on your ass.
over 2011 was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
These concepts have come and gone and never got the daylight they deserved. They'll live on as legendary toys, but that's pretty much it. And it's sad
That's
to me,
so
man.
sad.
So much good stuff has come and gone and never been featured. Not even in a one-shot comic book, I find. So, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? There's too much Joe out there. Paul, give us another one.
My third pick. This is once again me putting something into Sunbow, so big surprise. And this character is Crystal Ball. And this is a bit of a cheat. Because I feel like we have realized this, or should I say, the good Troy Smith has realized this when in Red Rockets, in the Red Rockets Glare, or Red Rocket series that he did, the play motion
Clairvoyance?
series. Clairvoyance, thank you, because I keep thinking that's how brainwashed I am by this thing, Red Rocket. Anyway, yeah, I think I kind of feel like when we were playing around with that, that's kind of where the original idea for this episode came from, and it's been sitting in my subconscious for this long, and I just feel like this is one of the biggest wasted opportunities in the Sunbow cartoon. How many cartoons have I've been hypnotized by a bad guy to do bad things and to turn on the Joes, to turn on the good guys episodes are there, and why does GI Joe not really have one of those episodes? And yeah,
Because they did it in the movie. No, look, I mean, Baroness is a totally squandered character in Rise of Cobra, as many characters are, because the brainwashing angle. I'm like, jeez. The only reason she's a bad guy is because she got brainwashed? Yuck and poo. Invest a little bit more in the Baroness character, please. But yeah, that's my personal gripe with the movie and not with Crystal Ball. Please continue, Paul.
Yeah, so, but that's the thing. Like, I think this is where the fun would have been, and where it would have been a much better concept in the cartoon is turning a good guy and making a good guy do bad stuff, just like they did just like we did with Clairvoyance. And I say we, but it's Troy, just as Troy did actually in Clairvoyance, was awesome. And we need more of that. And I think I think other people, much better writers than us realized this and put that, that energy into the IDW comics. So at least we got to see a character like Crystal Ball fully realized. But I want him in the cartoon, damn it. I think he would have been so awesome in the cartoon. And looking at his card art, I've had a startling realization about something, which I'm going to keep to myself. And pass right on to Rob.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
I believe.
Paul's been
I mean,
hypnotized.
oh my goodness, something's gonna go down.
There's
So
a
we
latent
got-
post-hypnotic suggestion hidden in the card art, and if you study it too closely, bing, you become brainwashed,
my
an agent
goodness.
of Cobra.
That's what's happening right now.
That would be awesome.
Please
So-
continue.
So we got Pythonized stuff in I think it was in Deke. There was in Dragonfire, wasn't it? Operation Dragonfire
Yep.
that had the Pythonized stuff in it. But we never got I would love to have seen Night Force or Tiger, the Tiger Force
Yeah.
in the cartoons. That would be absolutely fantastic, I mean, obviously they kind of rework it in some way and make it there's a reason why they have to dress all tigery, or there's a reason why they need to be all in Night Force gear. But that would have been so cool to be able to see one of these sub teams in there, and with their recolored vehicles too. In say Sunbow or Deke. I mean, if you had to put them in there. But I think that would be absolutely incredible. And I think it's true what Stephen said earlier. It's obviously come out a lot with a lot of the picks that we've made. 1987, 88, 89 have a lot of missed opportunities of characters and sub teams and bad guys and vehicles and whatever else that were never used. And that really should have gotten a chance to shine in the cartoons. And I think Night Force or Tiger Force would have been a fantastic addition. Just such a cool variation, and then people would have known about Tiger Force a lot earlier, instead of being European exclusives. So yeah. I think Tiger Force.
Rob,
Why
I
not?
I fully agree, because that is actually what put this whole thing in motion. Is I was having a conversation with one of the local GI Joe fans who posted on his group, on his WhatsApp group. He was all like, was Tiger Force ever in any of the cartoons? And I'm like, no. And he's like, not even Deke. And I'm like, no. I'm like, just Python Patrol. And he's like, well, that's sad. I'm like, yes, it is. And then I was like,
Thank
that
you
is
very
sad.
much.
I need to speak to the guys.
I
like-
will not credit you for this idea, and you will not get any of the proceeds.
No,
from the
I'll
podcast.
totally credit. I mean, if he actually listens to the show, old Skoltzy, yeah, your our chat inspired. this.
Skoltzy!
Thank you, Skoltzy.
You're
Don't keep
fucking
my
lie.
Yes.
Hey, that man has been responsible for getting me some cool toys, and finally I can do a new shit section next week.
Oh,
because-
interesting.
Yes,
Next
Preview
week.
252.
next weekend. Yeah,
Tons of new stuff.
guys, I've just been snowed under. I haven't been able to do anything.
You haven't even
Except
gone
for
to
one
watch-
day that I managed to sneak out to the shops because I needed to do some grocery shopping.
you finally made it
yeah.
to a shopping center. Good.
Can't even
It's a-
sneak out to my sister's house. Hey, Paul.
Ah,
Dude,
right.
that is
Free
that
toys
is the whole thing.
It's
Free toys. Free toys.
I know.
For Paul Love
Free
Show.
toys.
If your name's
I
Paul Love
know.
Show, collect your free
So
toys.
Free toys.
So the big thing is just like I told you guys earlier, like I've been busy with some hectic work stuff, and it's been very, very demanding on
Oh,
me.
I
So I've
believe
been
it.
like kind
I
of,
believe it. If you've turned down the
but
opportunity to get
Free toys, that means you must be really busy. Jesus.
Yo,
on
bully.
top of, but then this week is also, these last 2 weeks have also been incredibly busy for Celia, who has been responsible for single-handedly, and I say single-handedly because she really did coordinate and do a lot of the really difficult stuff. But they opened a new branch of Old Khaki in Colonnade Shopping Center, and Celia was like pretty much there from the ground up, like making sure that the place looked right, all the shop fittings and everything was correct for the designs
hell
and
yeah,
the
dude.
whole look and feel. She has been very tired. I'm going to say that. And very not good to have conversations with because she was very tired. So, so
Say no
getting
more.
anywhere. Yeah. So,
But
you know,
have we
you have
successfully concluded our cartoon assignment, gents? Anything else you have waiting in the wings?
I think it would have been nice to see more Night Ravens in the cartoon series.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Night
kidding?
Ravens were like the
like
cannon fodder of the
thousands of them.
second season.
Yeah.
I know.
Like they're getting shut down every other
Wanted to
episode.
see more because they're so sexy. It's not like they're not there. Just like seeing them.
Well,
And,
as I said, special mention for me was Scoop. Also, I believe Shockwave did appear in Deke, but it would have been cool to see him in a better, well, in Sunbow.
Well, it was in
Yeah.
his DEF outfit, which is
Ew,
weird
okay.
because they kind of changed the helmets to be completely like transparent, not transparent, kind of opaque-ish. So
Ew.
you could see like mouth detail and eye detail, but it was like really badly detailed.
Mm.
It's a weird look. So that
Okay,
does
so
not
classic
do
Shockwave would have been
any favors.
amazing.
And let me just specify, like, on record, I don't love Shockwave as a character. It's just a cool design. Like, there's absolutely nothing
looks so
necessarily
cool.
about the established character of Shockwave that speaks to me. I mean, we both sang in choirs, but that's neither here nor there. I just
Yeah.
took him as my avatar because he is just so uncharacterized.
Steve, you just brought up an interesting memory now for me.
Oh.
So
Oh,
my teacher in standard 3, which was what is that, grade 5?
grade 5.
5th grade. His name was Mr. Volsenach. Very, very cool guy. Very tall, imposing gentleman. Like hectic, hardcore. Like just Mr. Volsenach just had this vibe. Like when the class was naughty, he would just like slam his desk and be like, "Enough!" And you would like crap yourself. It wasn't like, you know, like him slamming the desk and the whole class was like, "Ha!" He really did have that like he could scare the shit out of you kind of thing. But he was such a cool guy. Anyway, as we got to know him, or should I say, as I got to know him, because he kind of opened up a little bit, like as a person to some of us as some of the students as we got to know him, because we did like sports stuff or whatever's, or helped him with things. And I remember like helping him. I was the DJing sound and light guy for the school's review, which is like the school play. I'm so lame. Anyway, he coordinated that, and anyway, I learned that he was actually part of the SANDF, and he was actually, while he was a teacher, he was still actually in active duty, and that's why he was so hardcore. He also used to sing for the Welsh Boys Choir. Yeah.
Wow.
And you mentioning Shockwave has just brought all of that back to me, like hardcore, cool military guy, and he's in the choir. I know one.
Shockwave was your teacher. Damn. That's
Damn. Yeah,
That's so cool.
Mr. Volsenach, like, he had to duck a little bit when he came into class. It was like, he was scary, man. But he was great. He was so great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Though
Sorry,
I do think
Steve.
it's a pretty arbitrary point to make that your file cards thing. It's like, okay, it's just an allegory to how everyone in the SWAT unit has a function. Like, all right, Mr. Hammer.
Stick with your soldering stuff. You obviously
Well,
don't know
no,
much
it's-
about the police.
It's cute, and it does make it a unique file card, but like, as a file card for Shockwave, it is a bit disappointing because it doesn't tell you much about Shockwave.
Yeah.
Like, you get from... Well, I don't want to get into it, man. Like, basically... I watched a film called Mosul, which is in Arabic, and it's about an Iraqi SWAT team. It is the most badass SWAT movie I have ever seen in my entire life. So all of a sudden, like, the fact that Shockwave is SWAT and not military actually makes him more hardcore in my eyes than less, if you know what I mean. Like, these guys are insane. They are, like, going into ISIS-held Mosul and rescuing families. Like, it's on Netflix. It's a bloody good watch.
I'm
Oh,
gonna check that
heck
out.
yeah,
'Cause I
dude.
never would have.
I would never have thought it. Okay, I'm gonna go watch that.
I wonder.
That's Steven's pick of the week.
I wonder
Dude,
if.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. Just on the Shockwave topic, I wonder if maybe he was. I wonder if Larry Homer, or whoever's writing the file cards. I assume it was Larry Homer that did Shockwaves. I wonder if he didn't put it there to kind of destigmatize choir singers or choir boys.
Could be.
Like, because I mean, if you think about it, like, and I mean, let's be real, like, you know, all of us here in this podcast, we have respect for choir, you know, for the choir,
Absolutely.
for
We were
guys who
all
sing
in
and stuff like
choirs.
that.
A lot of us were.
But the guys that were beating us up in school didn't.
They didn't give a
You know?
frick about bloody choir people. Honestly.
And a character, like, imagine that there is some GI Joe fan out there that read Shockwave's file card, and he has an incredible voice, and he was like sort of made to think that, like, oh, you know, he's less than a guy or less than like being hardcore or whatever, is because he can sing. And him reading this file card and going, oh, you know what, this character called Shockwave is a badass, and he's a
that
choir
saved
singer.
his life.
And now he's probably like in the SWAT team and a choir singer. You know?
Badass. He
He's a
sings
badass.
when he breaks the doors down.
What is perhaps a point that I also am trying to convey with Shockwave's file card and this kind of preoccupation with him being a choir singer is that's not necessarily a high level of achievement. Like,
No.
as being part of a chorus, you don't necessarily have a phenomenal standout soloist voice. You are a team player. It's not it's not like singling him out as like, oh, he had an opera career prior to joining Detroit SWAT. It's like, no, he was just one of the guys. There's nothing particularly special about his voice. He just happens to sing. So it's an everyman quality, I guess.
Is this true?
is what I'm
Okay,
trying
I
to convey.
suppose. It's anecdotal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Hans Chow is Paul's
choir boy.
childhood teacher. This is crazy.
He was a choir boy and in the military and currently a school teacher. He is also Shockwave.
There we
and
go.
what's the name of your teacher's? Mr. Wilsonach.
Yeah,
Wilsonach.
Peter Wilsonach. Yeah.
Wilsonach! What a name. Hey,
What a
hey,
name.
I have the opportunity to speak South African. Thank goodness for this podcast.
Yo.
Gentlemen, let's put a pin in the animated edition section
Hell
/
yeah.
Shockwave file card discussion. My goodness, because I do got some new shit.
Ooh, shit. And I also
no.
and I also want to show off somebody from the Instagram whose stuff I really dig. So yeah, so
let's get
that would
into it.
be yeah.
I got a Tri-Blaster.
A Tri-Blaster.
A Tri-Blaster
Wow.
from 1989. A battlefield
Fantastic.
robot. Here shown with no gun and no missile stand. I got it for a song because both were snapped, right? But I just wanted
It
to show
looks
off an
so much better
alternate-
now.
I know, an alternative setting for this rather chintzy little vehicle.
That's so
you can
cool.
Pop Scoop's camera in the gun mount
Yeah.
and his satellite backpack in the missile / antenna mount. And all of a sudden, it's like a dolly, basically.
This
a dolly
is
rig
amazing.
for his
You
camera.
can come up with incredible shots. This is so cool.
Yeah.
I love what you've done with the backpack. It
Oh,
looks
yeah,
like
you
it's
gotta
meant to
have
be there.
Well, they're the similar shade of gray, so why not? And they both come from the year 1989.
Heck
Our Lord and
yeah.
Savior. You could also attach the hose to add a little bit more rigidity to his camera mount because it is a loose. It kind of, it's a.
Yeah,
it's
to
a,
kind of just like flop around in there.
It does. But not bad at all. Then, in all its glory, with the guns and missiles
sexy.
attached. It's good fun, man. Like, these things fulfill a very important function that I think we forget the further we get from this point, and that's you could buy the Battlefield robot sets for a song. I think they were all of about 20 Rand back in the day. That was like less than $5. And they were a vehicle. You could go home with a figure and a vehicle for a very, very small amount of cash. So they might seem cheap now, but they did fulfill a very important role. I am missing one missile. I am missing one missile and the antenna, but that's okay. And there's a difference between the Tri-Blaster, which we didn't get in South Africa and Europe, and the Radar Rat, which we did. The Radar Rat had blue wheels, whereas the Tri-Blaster has the gray wheels. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, we kind of touched on this on a conversation we had. Oh.
Also, the weapons are in a kind of a more muted green, whereas the Euro release, it's a more kind of deep, sort of vibrant green. Both are extremely fragile. The reason being, the posts are conical. It's not like a mushroom peg that is like straight up and down. The fact that the posts are conical means that the deeper you press them in, the snugger they fit. So if you jam them all the way down and you try and turn them, twist them, you're just going to shear them straight off.
Oh my goodness. That doesn't
Bad
sound good.
design. The other bit of bad design, unfortunately, when viewed from behind, the guy doesn't sit into it at all. Okay,
No.
it's just a cavity that his legs go into with a
Sitting
foot
like a
peg.
heat sink. Yeah.
He's got his butt hanging off the edge. Which says to me that, yes, these things are designed to be drones. They are drones that can, at a pinch, in a pinch,
transport
accept,
someone.
Yeah, accept a figure. Or make for a camera stand for Scooby.
That is the
Scooby.
best use for a vehicle I've ever seen.
The other problem, the handle angle on the
Oh,
gun.
no.
If you do
Oh,
put
my
his
word.
hands on, he does this kind of elbow pop.
Sorry.
But that's just the limitation of GI Joe figures of the age. That like to get their hands onto a handle that isn't just rounded. You know, if the handles do have a kind of a C shape to them, a sloped shape to them, they do suggest which angle the hands must grasp them at. And unfortunately, in the case of the Tri-Blaster, it's the angle that pops your elbows out to the sides and slightly up. It's weird. Anyways, that's
It looks
what I got
ridiculous.
this week.
Dude, that's
What
awesome.
fun.
I was wondering why you were asking me about the wheels on the Radar Rat.
Ah,
week.
interesting.
So, I'm going to share my screen.
Word.
So there's this really cool...
Prepare yourselves, guys.
It's actually one of the members of the Berg Force as well. But I've been following his Instagram account for a while. And Steve, you and I have been having some chats about these sort of Toy Biz... the Toy Biz X-Men days. And and then, you know, the conversation also sort of leaked into the Marvel Select remakes. And then there's also the Retro remake. And it's a whole thing. Anyway, it's funny, as we were having that conversation, this awesome shot of Wolverine popped up in my feed, and I'm like, this is an incredibly cool Wolverine. Like, oh my word, this is amazing. And it reminded me of my Toy Biz Wolverine, and I'm talking about founding figures here, and I'm not gonna put out his real identity because I suspect he doesn't want me to like flag it everywhere. But
Is it
he
Old
has
Snake
been
as his Instagram profile pic?
yeah. No, no,
As in
it's
Cobra Commander. No?
no,
from
it's
that
Cobra
episode?
Commander and Firefly disguised. Yeah, wearing
Oh,
sunglasses
yeah.
and doors.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not that episode that's set in the future of Transformers. No.
No. So yeah, he's got some really great photographs of these toys, and I really, really love them. And I've actually been following this channel for a long time because, like, I'm gonna go back through his channel a bit quickly. But he had some shots of the Renegades, and I've really, really enjoyed them. You know, like if you check this out, this is such a cool shot, and he really looks like he's having a lot of fun with these toys. And I always appreciate that. And here's another great one. Of them again, and it's just so
Renegades in the
cool.
river.
Yeah. So he posts a lot of these cool like action shots, and Shame, I hope you're not feeling too exposed, Founding Figures. I just really like your work. I just wanted to show it off to people, as opposed to telling people to go and have a look and then they forget your name or whatever. So like, what's the guy on the
Founding
podcast?
Figures,
I'm too
guys.
lazy to go and check. I mean, here's one for Rob.
Oh hell yeah!
And he even tagged Rob for at no clarity here. Rob of GI Joburg. Scoop has a new ride,
Nice.
right? So
Heck yeah.
Founding Figures, GI Joburg, salute you. Especially
yeah,
Rob.
man. Especially Rob. But yeah, please go and check out his channel. He's got some fantastic stuff. He's got some great setups. He really looks like he knows how to play with these toys, which is always a good thing. And his X-Men shots are making it so difficult for me to resist the urge and the temptation to pick up a Wolverine, a Jubilee, for myself.
Wolverine!
Wolverine! I want a Wolverine! And I mean, you've got Arcade here and Iron Fist. Oh, I want
Alright,
these,
Paul,
but
GI
I also
Joburg
can't.
podcast. GI Joe.
Let's go back to GI Joe. Oh, gotta stop sharing.
So I
Okay.
got a bit of Postbox the Pit mail from
Ooh.
Mauler Joe, and boy oh boy, it's a tome. I can't read it out on air, but I can give the cliff notes in that
Just
of all the playtime stories that GI Joburg has received over the years, like I think this might be certainly the most like awe-inspiring. Like if GI Joe has permeated your every existence, you've lived this kind of playtime. He would have vehicles and guys that he wanted to destroy because they were already broken, like a warthog that had its doors broken off, or snake eyes that had a stripped screw. He would cover it in resin, set it alight, and push it off into the lake, only to then have a friend who wasn't involved in the burning come and investigate what happened. He would have to row out and find this submerged, crisped toy, and then like make his own conclusions. Like, oh, okay, I'm not doing a very good job of summarizing, but like this is some heavily involved like story time, playtime, this saga that he has related to me. So I'm gonna try and unpack this somehow.
sounds
and
amazing.
discuss
We
it on
should
the
do like
show.
we should do like an audio book of it, maybe.
Maybe,
think that'd be
yeah.
a cool
Well,
idea.
I think Mauler Joe, it's a high time we got him on GI Joburg to
Oh,
discuss this
definitely.
playtime.
Fantastic.
Because it is going to be inspirational stuff for us all.
Well, he's been
but
all
Rob,
over the place this week.
Has he now?
Yeah, as Stephen's about to preface, as I'm about to.
It's that time.
Absolutely, it's scoop time. So 250 was all about me and my new toys, and talking about the elbows and the feel. Even though it was very difficult for me to articulate what the heck I was trying to say about how they don't feel right. Many commenters all agreed that they have a weird feel to them. They do not feel exactly like the original Joes, and it became a whole discussion. People were like, and Joe Mauler was fantastic with his different ideas about like, you know, how you kind of fix them, and how, I mean, he was also surprised when he discovered that a lot of people had very tightened elbows, because he had surmised that they obviously didn't tighten too much because they didn't want to damage the plastic. And he also pointed something out that I actually realized as I was saying it in the previous episode, that the black, the number that's printed on the back of Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes does have that on him. It's just, it's erased, it's embossed on the back of his leg. So there was a way of them doing it where they didn't have to print this huge black bloody number on the character. Yeah, so people talked like tons about you know, the new GI Joes and how some of them were preferred. I think it was, you know, they preferred other new companies doing their retro figures, like, you know, if only they'd learned from these guys, you know. But probably my favorite comment was from Yellow Hell, who weighed in on probably the most important topic of the week, and the thing that we talked about that came up, and he joined us. He says Team TJ Bang. He looks like a TJ. So I'm glad he's on
Shebang.
the TJ side with us.
Whoa, whoa, she moves. She moves.
Rob, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I might be experiencing a bit of a Mandela effect on this one, but when we had our early 2000s core figures, that first series of T-crotch guys that were really like nicely weathered and
The good
caked in
stuff.
dirt,
Yeah.
good stuff. They also had that factory serial number, but it wasn't stamped on the figure. It was a piece of paper. It was a slip of paper inside the character's torso cavity.
Yes.
You remember that?
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
now that you
that
say that-
ridiculousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that you
Okay.
say it, that was something that they did. Yeah.
that is probably the least obtrusive way of a factory including that kind of information.
You
Because
just print
if you
it
do
up,
need
pop
to
it in there,
locate a
close the
bad
figure up.
batch of plastic or whatever, you just go looking for this little slip of paper to determine which factory it came out of.
And it doesn't ruin the figure by
Absolutely.
printing a giant freaking number on the back of his thigh. That
But
is
I wonder if
what
that
happened with
practice
him.
has fallen away because maybe it didn't work out in the old end. They were like, no. We don't want to be looking for screwdrivers. We need it printed back
But yeah, it's more
on the
straightforward just to
figure.
print it straight onto the figure. But still, that would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people had a ton of great comments to talk about, talking about the different feels of figures. Yeah, so thanks guys for always commenting, and I hope we get a lot of comments this week on your favorite characters that you wish was in an animated series of GI Joe, or vehicles. I mean, I mentioned some vehicles. I was expecting Steve to mention some vehicles, but he didn't mention any.
I
I
suppose
was
in
trying to
Steve's
keep with the
defense,
strictness of the topic, man. Like,
Well,
it got
that's
exactly what I was gonna say.
for sure.
Yeah.
You're very strict.
In Steve's defense, I didn't mention vehicles at all, so maybe.
Well, I go.
So-
I was going to go there anyway because I was like, I'm sure Steven will go there, and he didn't go there, and I was like, okay, I'm the only guy who likes vehicles apparently in cartoons.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
well.
Yeah. Oh well. It's
Next
hard,
time.
Rob. I know. I feel you.
It is. It's difficult to be Rob, but here I am.
well, okay. Here's the vehicle that I settled on as like the one that is most criminally denied having a devoted storyline for it, and that's the Cobra bug. I just think like the
yes.
underwater dimension is so cool. They did it with the hammerhead in Deke, but like the bug could have been in that third season of Sunbow, and it would have been done right. It's like just as a, I mean, we saw it animated in the commercial, and the commercials did fill in that gap in terms of just giving us a glimpse at what these things would look like in animation. This is great sequence where I think something is stolen from the Joes, and they're chasing in the desert fox, and they're chasing in the warthog, and the bug is entering the water, and then it fires off its pod. Just great stuff, great action sequences. But like, I'm a sucker for any kind of submarine action, submerged underwater
Heck yeah.
intrigue, and the bug could have been so great. I just think of all those sequences where we got non-toy submersibles. It would have been so lovely to see an actual GI Joe toy that Cobra can use down there.
well,
Missed
aren't you
opportunity.
happy
Cobra-
you hung around, dear
Cobra can
listeners? You
use
get to hear
down there.
Steven's vehicle suggestion for the cartoons.
And if you did hang around this late into the proceedings, you can take a look at our awesome Patreon honor roll. The
We
guys
salute.
and gals that chuck us $1 every month. And we appreciate you guys a great deal. You can get early access to episodes. You can also join us live if you so desire, or just check us out on the replay. Amongst other things, Paul, I believe I tossed you a little something for the Berg
Ooh,
Force this past week.
Tossing
Have they received their link
the
to
salad.
the bonus
Oh
features?
yes. Yes, I'll hold that out actually now. Thank you. So I must
Hasn't
admit
done it.
I
It's
did have
gonna
it all
happen.
queued up, and unfortunately I got into a meeting thing that happened. Like it was a bit of a crisis, and then it sort of fell to the back. And also I've been trying to work on my GI Joe submissions to put them through tomorrow, so I've been using all my time for that.
It's
So
all
I'm sorry.
happening.
I'm sorry.
So the
Anyways.
Bird Force discovered live that there's something extra for them waiting soon.
Bonus.
Don't get your hopes up, Berg Force. I mean,
It's coming.
it's It's good fun. You get a glimpse into the further madness of GI Joburg. But once
Ooh,
again,
do they get to
everyone
see
who
the
watches us,
mosquito-covered balls?
I was gonna ask.
Sign up to Patreon and find out. We just might have opened up our own OnlyFans.
I think we just lost Patreons from that live. Nobody wants to see that. At least I don't think anyone should. Hey, it's a weird and wonderful world out there, guys. You do you.
And before we run out, oh, sorry, because it feels like you're about to stick your leg out the door there, and I
Oh,
just
hell yeah.
there's two things that I want to mention. You mentioned submersibles, and I've been playing Gran Turismo a lot, which is a car game, right? So there's no correlation there. But there's a McLaren,
Yeah.
there's a McLaren prototype that you sit in the game in the car. You lie down, you sit in it prone, so you're not really sitting in it. You drive it in a prone position, so you're lying
Like a
down,
GI Joe vehicle.
like you would a shark. Yeah.
Or shark.
Or like the shark in the animated, or
even
in
the
the
shark,
toy
yeah.
mode. Yeah.
Maybe the shark.
And I thought
Sounds
that
like
was
the
kind of
shark.
fascinating. And if you guys are wondering why this mad decision was made by McLaren, it's because they feel that the car hits such high G-forces that it's actually safer for the driver to be in that position because it doesn't affect them as much in that prone position, at least in a
well,
vehicle,
I mean-
with the way that it's designed to turn and stuff. So
Fighter
yeah, that
jets
was
definitely.
interesting.
I mean, pilots are definitely all prone in their fighter jets, aren't they?
Of course, you know what it's like. They all you see
Wait.
Top Gun and like they
lying on
they
your
put their
belly.
heads in there.
Let's
Prone is on your belly. I know Rob's just being cheeky. That's what I was about to say. You remember when Maverick, flew over to, upside down to the enemy fighter and then he mooned them because his bum
Yeah.
was in the prime
That's
position
how
to
it
do
works.
that? Yeah, exactly, because he was flying prone. No, but
fight G-forces.
apparently that's the whole thing. It's
I
it's the whole
suppose
thing that I
low
wanted to
level
mention.
G-forces are... Yeah, okay. That's pretty
Okay,
cool.
yeah, that's according to McLaren. But anyway, is there a working prototype of this car? No, it's a completely simulated car at the moment. The whole idea is to unveil it in 2024. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention, and this actually infuriates me, and I could kick myself. You know those moments, ladies and gentlemen, when
could
you go to
kick
the
you
toy
too.
shop.
I'll do
Steve is going to kick me for this too. I saw the new Batman figures. They finally arrived in South Africa, which is very exciting. And I grabbed myself the Batman from that line because I was like, okay, well, you know what? I've got a bit of bucks. And they had the Batmobile, and they still have it, to be fair. And it was listed as 489 Rand at the back of the box. And I was like, I'm not going to drop 500 Rand right now. I want to think about this. Well, I went back to the shop today because I've thought about it. And yeah, it's actually 1,599 Rand now. So they must have made a whoopsie with the price sticker. That Batmobile could stay right the fuck there. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no! You see,
I
guys,
don't
Yeah.
want it at
simply
500
won't
Rand.
buy it.
Try having it at 1,500 Rand.
1,000 Rands. I'm sure it'll go on clearance soon enough. It's
It'll
the
go back
biggest.
500.
The sad thing about that toy line is that, and I'm sure I don't know if it's like this in the States or in or Europe or Australia, but I just found in South Africa, people are funny about buying that 3/4 inch scale figure, and they're more than happy to buy the Batmans, the actual toys, the Batmans, the Batgirls, the Supermans, the Green Lanterns, it all. They're happy to do that. And they're quite happy to buy the very cheap and cheerful Tupperware Batmobiles that are on offer. But as soon as those things go anywhere like north of like $500, they sit and they gather dust. Which is why I put in a special request with the Toy Kingdom dudes to please give me a call as soon as it goes on special. And they know me, so then I know they will.
They're like, for sure, you're just gonna pay it. We're gonna get that $500 from him one day.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to
Fantastic.
throw that out there because I feel like such an idiot, such a fool, a moron.
It's like insider trading. It's like, we know we're not going to get the sale out of this guy at the regular price. We're going to call him in when it's clearanced out. Where like, oh, you must be a real like VIP, Paul. These guys,
Hell
like,
yeah.
what are you doing for them on the side?
Nothing, dude. I'm just friendly to them. You know, the other day I walked in
That's
a
all it
couple of
takes.
months back.
You're a nice guy.
Yeah. I walked in a couple of months ago, and the guy goes, come here. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, what's happening? He goes, he pulls out this box and it's all of the new release Hot Wheels that he's kept aside. And he's like, I kept these aside because I know you might want to check them before they all go up on the special.
Aw,
And I was like, you rock star. You know?
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have any money right now, but I might buy them next time.
No, well, shame. I bought like 4 or 5 cars that day. But
Okay.
I thought that was really cool. Like, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
you
anyway.
treat
There are
people in
good
the shop,
people.
they'll treat you right. I mean, I from personal experience, yeah.
Yep.
nice to
If
me,
you work
I'll get
behind the
used to it.
counter, you just know. You
You
know?
just know.
Yeah. Show me the way. Anyway. Stephen, as you were.
251. The Joes, the
baby.
tunes missed, among other things. It's been a blast. Check you guys next week. We have no idea what we'll talk about, but we're open to suggestions. Bam.
Hell yeah.
I've got a
us
good
what you wanna
feeling that I've also got a good feeling Obi-Wan might enter that conversation next week.
Interesting.
Hello there.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, very interesting times. Also, Iconicon and Cobra Convergence 6 loom on the horizon, and I feel at liberty to reveal that we will be premiering the finale of our Renegades saga, along with the entire completed, what would you call it, collection, the
Movie edit? I don't know, like the all-in-one edit.
The full feature edition.
Feature length edition.
what's the bloody word? Anyway, the collected edition of all of it, plus some
Playlist.
extras, in the Iconicon. We'll be premiering
Renegades
it
the
for-
motion picture.
There we
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the anthology version. That's what I was looking for. That was
Yeah, there we
Ah.
go. It's kind of like Resolute. You know, Resolute came out weekly, but you can watch it all at once as well.
Yep.
Or not weekly,
So
it came out over
for
multiple
viewers
days.
new and old, it will offer something quite unique in the Iconicon lineup.
Heck yeah.
But it's looking like an amazing event this year. I certainly hope a good helping of the GI Joburg following can tune in, pitch up,
I'm definitely
show
checking out some
some
of these
support.
things. Fantastic.
Yeah. We've got celebrities in the panels. Like, what?
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
It's going big
Okay.
styles. And of course,
Heck
Cobra
yeah.
Convergence 6 will follow shortly after that. And it's going to be a month of pure Cobra goodness.
It's gonna be
Oh,
insane.
yeah.
Why does Cobra get a month
I'm-
and Joe doesn't? I think that's ridiculous. It's terrible.
Hey man, any excuse to paint the month Cobra Blue is a good one if you ask me. And Brian's putting in some incredible work behind the scenes. But the contributors this year, like, I just see some of the names and I'm like, what? Amazing. It's been said before, but fans do the best work. And yeah, we're all in for a treat. It's going to be a hell of a month.
Fantastic.
That'll be
I'm
July,
looking forward
and
to it.
Iconicon is late June into early July, the last weekend of June. Anyways, my name is Steve. I'm out.
Hell yeah. Rob says goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. Berg.
See you next week, guys.
Berg. Berg. Berg.
Yes,
Berg.
cheers.
Berg. 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 Berg.
Berg,
Berg.
Berg.
There we go.